We're right back in 751 AD when there were a whole bunch of increasingly powerful servants of less and less land to bequeath. Essentially, you had these Mark Zuckerberg types with their Instagram state-sponsored prostitution rings, and you had this Jeff Bezos-like characters running around in 750 AD, just wreaking havoc, and people were so poor you couldn't even tax them. And eventually, someone by the name of Pippin III said, "This is perverse. It's ridiculous. Why are we doing this? It's a death spiral." So he had the ceremonious king, the kind of fake king who wears a crown but has no power. Just had his hair shorn, put in a monastery, and then they had finally, for the first time in 1,000 years, had a legitimate government with a proper king, imperial court. He had the best people who really knew what the heck they're doing, practical people called a nobility. Gee, isn't that a novel concept? You have all the best people who are the true nobility actually run the show. And they made great strivings to try to help the poor, and subsequently when Charlemagne was born. And that Carolingian Renaissance lasted 700 years and was the most successful upward swing of wage increases, and there were a few peasant revolts, but that was so successful. Way up, cultural increases, cultural development, technological development, massive wage increases. Just about everything that we have known to man now was built during the Carolingian Renaissance, during that 700-year streak. Every 25 years, something new is being built. Actually, I personally counted, it was actually about 15 years. 15 years, got a brand new, complete invention. Actual inventions. It's like having a whole new type of computer every 15 years. In the 10th century, the Byzantine Empire had better toys than we did. They had giant gilded lions overlaid with gold that were mechanical, that would roar on command, and their tables would thump. And they had hand washing stations, so that when you wash your hands, out from the little door would pop out a little mechanical servant, and he'd hand you a drying towel. How come the people of the 10th century had better toys than us? We got these goddamn mind-reading devices, these fucking phones that are just blowing people's brains out with porno and outputs to try to just waste and drain people's time and corral them into certain behavioral patterns. That is Satan, a kingdom of illusion and fear. This country is based on nothing but illusion and fear. A lot of posturing, a lot of nonsense. We must restore rule of the Holy Church. And here's the platform of the church. If I become governor, or if any person running on this platform becomes governor, because we're taking over now, the bottom has already fallen out from the floor of the United States, we already know the game is rigged, we're going to take those so-called magic money computers that Doge found, and there's some in California. We are going to give $20 million to every man, woman, and baby in the name of Jesus Christ. In the glorious name of Christ and his most precious blood, we're giving $20 million to every person in the state of California for the Social Security number. And we are ending this because we know that the federal government, they've been using that money for lavish trips and stuff, and there's no real scarcity. It's all fake, like a rigged Monopoly game that you cannot even win. And you find out the whole time that there was a whole money pile somewhere, and it was generated like magic. And you know what? The water's like that too. Look at the ocean. Why is our water metered? It's less of a mystery of the water thing, but we never should have had a situation in which we had people making less than $20 an hour when they could be given $20 million instantly and be set for life, and we could still have a functioning government that way. Did you realize that? We can still have a fully functional society, even as bad as this one, if everyone just has $20 million in their pockets. And you can generate it without any theft, without anyone losing anything. And it would not break the system. $20 million, as high as that sounds, is still not really enough for people to gain that much political power. Hardly at all. But they will have more. A lot more. And we are demanding restitution for all the survivors of the Monty Park Star Ballroom Massacre. I don't need anything from the federal government or the state of California unless they say they made me rich. Only give to the survivors of this shooting and put the church in power. We are putting ourselves in power. We Christians are rising up. And we already have. We're done with this country. We have been mentally disassociated from it for about 30 years. We're sick of it. This country has been an antichrist, anti-Catholic, Merovingian nightmare. Totally the anti-Charlemagne. An anti-Christian inversion of Christian Europe. They try to go back to this so-called Roman Republic thing. And you know what happens in a society like the Roman Republic? You have rampant homosexuality and rampant child molesting and trafficking. That's what Christianity got rid of. Do you guys have any idea that it took us about 500 years just to get rid of daytime magic practice? And about 200, 300 more years to get rid of nighttime magic practice. And only after that, the pedophilia stuff went away. And the church finally gained a strong foothold, the strongest it ever had, about 1100, 1200 AD. Why on earth will we ever go back to the horror show, the constant violence, and the just a gridlock that was all part of that Republican system of Rome? It was hardly even Rome. It was just a quagmire. So now when the United States is not even a proper country, it's just a bunch of silos on a landmass filled with weapons and merchandise. So we are done with this. We know what's going on. They tried to defund the Catholic churches, make it as hard for them to get money as possible. If we had a properly funded church that was part of the state, then for the sake of the state, they would be taking care of the poor like Europe does now. Despite secularization laws recently, in recent history in England, if you go to a place like England or some other parts of Europe, especially more so in some other parts of Europe, if you lost your job, they say, "Oh, that's no problem. It's okay. You just didn't like it or it didn't work for you. You can just better luck next time. You're worth more than the sum of this country's parts. So we'll put you up for 3 to 6 months till you figure out what else you want to do." They'll give them some money. They'll put them up in a nice place in Europe, because everything in Europe is very nice, mostly, especially depending on where you're at. But you lose your job, they respect you as a person made in the image of God. Even though they're not officially Christian in many countries anymore, they still have a Carolingian spirit. Charlemagne, one of the first things he did, and this is what all the great kings did of the world, especially in China, is they took care of the downtrodden and the poor and the destitute first. And Charlemagne, in true form, made a very big literacy and pro restoration campaign to try to lift people out of poverty a little bit and to get them literate. It didn't work completely, but it was one of the biggest, broadest, sweeping campaigns, most intentional that there's ever been in Western history. A multitude of Chinese sage kings have already done this. So we want classy Chinese people here in this country. We don't want any people coming in here anymore who are going to be trying to deface people because they're white or handsome or get more Asian pussy. I know that Ron DeSantis tried to prevent Chinese from buying real estate in Florida because his eyes are bloodshot during the hurricane that God sent. The very day after he said that, his eyes were just like, because he could not get any Chinese pussy. I almost feel sorry for Ron DeSantis, bitch-ass Ron DeSantis, but I don't. I don't really feel so sorry for him. Anyways, we're restoring rule of the Holy Church, and we're demanding a bullet in Gavin Newsom for every person that was killed and every person that survived and was shot. Might makes right, baby. We are so done with this. This is the only way to stop these racially motivated state sponsors of terrorism by the United States government and the state of California. It's done. It's over. We know that there are state actors who are taking aim at Newsom right now, and they're just waiting for a good reason to have him shot. Well, consider this your signal, guys. And I'm asking for the protection and support of President Trump, because we are his base. If Trump betrays his base by letting anything happen to me at all, that is an attack by these guys on Christendom, and his entire base will turn on him if he does not help us with this. Because the same people who terrorized him and his family during his entire presidential campaign are the same people who would come after me just for saying that if the governor of California, in coordination with the local police department, other thugs, are going to terrorize these people, shoot them up, and then you have these freaking hotels like Hilton and Marriott terrorizing and threatening the survivors of the shooting, we're going to fucking kill them. They are going to get shot. You know what? The state of California is going to do... Sorry. The federal government already has a plan. They're coming after Newsom. They're coming after him very hard. They want a reason. They need a reason. And President Trump, we appreciate you. We need you. We've been good to you. We stood by you when no one else did. And now we need you to stick by your base. Show us where you stand. Do you stand with your base who supported you and are going to get rid of Newsom? Or are you going to stand with the banks and the unrepentant Jesus killers? All these people who put this fiat system in place to try to disenfranchise your voters. We trust you that you're going to protect me. You're going to protect the movement to make California a religiously ruled autonomous region. What's the acronym for that? It's called a Special Autonomous Region, SAR. So we're going to put a pacifier on these Newsom type of characters. We're going to have rule the Holy Church. And we're going to distribute $20 million to every man, woman, and baby in California with a Social Security number. That's the church rule platform. We're going to do things Christ's way. $20 million per person, magic money that just print from a computer, because that's this whole country's based off of artificial scarcity. There is no scarcity. There's no reason for anyone to be suffering, to be hooked up to respirators. I saw twice in downtown LA. I saw 2 grown men dying on the streets in respirators, when these guys could have just printed $20 million, instantly given it to you, your brother, your baby brother, your sister, and your mother, and your daddy. All could have gotten $20 million. And those other people who were put up to these respirators could have been alive. All the people who got shot at could have never been here, or they could have still been alive to this day if we had the Christian church in power. So here's what it's going to look like for church rule. We're going to have a tribunal of 3 church offices: Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestant. And it's going to be after the formation of the Catholic and Orthodox churches, because we have the strongest cultural value, and that's just fair and reasonable. The Catholic Church has been around for 2,000 years for a reason. This is God's church. This is God's expression of Christianity to the world through the sacraments. And most of the blessings and graces come through the power of the Catholic Church, the spiritual authority. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of word, but of power. And for anyone who thinks or says that they can just make this country an amazing country without God, without morality, and just mistreat whistleblowers like Snowden and me for pointing out how these people were killed and terrorized, the whole world is already fed up. They aren't coming after the United States because they're bad. They're coming after the United States because the United States killed too many innocent people, and they're sick of it. So unless the United States wants to get downgraded to an A rating, lose all their money, lose all their investment, and go to war, have the whole world want to go to war with them and burn this country with fire for the horror that it is, then I highly recommend that you guys leave me alone and you get rid of Newsom and you apologize to me and to the whole country for all the people you killed in these massacres. Not all of them, but the massacres are obviously meant to terrorize certain ethnic groups who are about to gain one up over someone else or buy a lot of real estate. Well, when I was in Crystal Cove, I was sitting at the bar at a fish house, and this middle-aged white woman with blonde hair who was sober told me when I said to her, you know, they did this because Chinese were buying a lot of real estate. And she said to me, well, they were buying a lot of real estate. Good. I just want to take her fucking face, smash it into the fucking counter. But I didn't, because that would have been an insult to the counter. But we're going to make sure that happens at Newsom. We're going to make sure the government, you've been waiting for your moment. You need to take him out. Newsom for the country. Newsom goes, throw him under the bus. Throw California under the bus so the country can live. We're making California an SAR, Special Administrative Region for Christendom. And we are done with this fiat, this powered by fiat, money laundering, all fake bullshit. No more fake scarcity. We're giving $20 million to every person here in California as part of the church platform. And we are taking over. We're taking over by force. And anyone who stands against us needs to realize there's nothing that this satanic Antichrist American apparatus fears more than the rise of religious people holding the banner of Jesus, the cross, and a golden crucified Christ saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Christ hasn't come yet. But that doesn't mean that Charlemagne wasn't able to rule. He did. For 700 years, we had a great system. It wasn't perfect, it evolved, but now we can have chivalry 3.0. Imagine if we can have something more in line with a complete moral system up and down society like Confucianism, but that's top down from the central moral authority of the Holy Church. No more usury, no more low wages. Everyone's getting $20 million as reparations for 3 generations because of gerontocracy. We are giving back, and we are changing the game.